Hello, everyone. I'm Kimberly Guilfoyle, and a grand jury in Missouri has reached a decision on whether to indict Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson for the August shooting death of 18-year-old Michael Brown. An announcement is expected to come at any moment. Let's go live to Fox's Steve Harrigan with the very latest from outside the Justice Center in Clayton. Steve?
Kimberly, crowds really eagerly awaiting this announcement. This grand jury of 12 people has been working behind closed doors for the past 3 months, ever since the August shooting of 18-year-old Michael Brown. Now, within the next couple of hours, we expect an announcement, whether or not they find it reasonable to bring criminal charges against Officer Darren Wilson. Now, back in August, we did see some violent unrest and large-scale protests. The real question is what's going to happen now after that announcement. It's 3 months later. Both sides have been meeting together, protesters and law enforcement. The temperature is certainly very different as well, down in the 30s today. Will we see the large-scale protests? Certainly law enforcement has been bracing for that. We've seen barricades set up. Public buildings, government buildings really blocked off, and a real tension in the air. Businesses once again boarding up, and when you talk to people on the street, a real sense of fear of what could happen following this announcement, an announcement we expect within the next 2 hours. Kimberly, back to you.
All right, thanks, Steve, for that update. And this weekend, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani got in a heated exchange over policing in black communities on Meet the Press with Georgetown professor Michael Eric Dyson. Watch.
I find it very disappointing that you're not discussing the fact that 93% of blacks in America are killed by other blacks. We're talking about the exception here.
First of all, most black people who commit crimes against other black people go to jail. Number two, they are not sworn by the police department as a agent of the state to uphold the law. So in both cases, that's a false equivalency that the mayor has drawn, which has exacerbated tensions that are deeply embedded in American culture.
Let's not make this. White police officers won't be there if you weren't killing each other.
Look at this. Hang on. The defensive mechanism of white supremacy at work in your mind.
Rudy appeared on Fox and Friends this morning to defend his stance.
I probably saved more black lives as mayor of New York City than any mayor in the history of the city. I'd like to see if if Dr. Dyson has ever saved as many lives in his community as I've saved. The danger to a black child in America is not a white police officer. That's going to happen less than 1% of the time. The danger to a black child, if it was my child, the danger is another black.
Okay, so he's speaking from his perspective and considerable years of experience, not only as mayor of New York City, but as a former prosecutor working very closely with law enforcement, in the streets of New York. Eric, what's your take?
My take is, Bob, you were huffing and puffing a little bit that Mayor Giuliani would say something like that, but the facts are, and the numbers bear them out, that black-on-black crime is the majority. Black men and women are dying at the hands of other black men and women at an alarming rate, 90-something%, I believe he said, in New York City. Professor Dyson, and we must use that term loosely, did something unbelievable. I'm not sure if we caught that in the soundbite or not, but he actually said something about white supremacy and Rudy Giuliani at the end of that soundbite. Mm-hmm. If we didn't pull it, we should go listen to it. It was one of the most egregious uses of race baiting I've heard in a long time, maybe ever. Giuliani's point was he put more cops on the street, he cleaned up Times Square, he took the crime off the street, and when the 90% of the crime plus is black on black, you're reducing the crime against black people. That's his point.